it's time to talk about Ninth Rain because I'm done with it. And how did I feel about it? A positive 3.5 stars and just another alright book to add to the stack. So, what is the Ninth Rain series about? It's about three different characters, a witch, a warrior, and a scholar who are come together as a hunting party as they form an alliance to understand the parasite spirits that have been left behind by the evil Juralia that have been attacking them for centuries, and just understanding pretty much what these parasite spirits are about, and that is the crux of the story, it seems. Without truly going into spoilery territory here. I have to say my favorite part of Ninth Rain is the world building. It's a world filled with really creepy bugs that are almost gigantic and somewhat of a colorful steampunk that is on the borderline grim side, but yet it is quite fascinating. I don't know how to really appropriately explain, but it's how I view the world. It's a little bit hard to describe this world, but as I said before, the evil ones in this world is the Juralia, and they use gigantic bugs to attack our main character. Very effective in making me feel like I should fear the Juralia. And like I said in my vlogs, I find that at least how I imagine these bugs to be are very reminiscent of the bugs I see in Nazca of the Valley. You know, if you watch Nazca of the Valley, Studio Ghibli movie, you should know that they just look like parts with googly eyes, and it's creepy as hell. It's creepy as hell, and they're also sort of the evil ones in the story. But at the same time, the world reminds me of Darkness of the Witcher. You know, the Witcher has its own like creepy crawlies, and there's just some darkness to it that's very reminiscent to it in Ninth Rain. So if you take Nazca of the Valley and The Witcher together and you smash it together, you get Ninth Rain. If you get what I mean. And so, talking about The Witcher, our sort of warrior bounty hunter character Tomlin is very reminiscent for me to Geralt from The Witcher, because Tomlin is essentially like a fallen hero. He is an Emborian, which is one of the races in the world where they are supposed to be great warriors who rely on this great tree called Isagil. And Isagil is supposed to provide them with like immortality and also great war beasts that are meant to fight off the Juralia. But the problem is the tree that's supposed to give his people power and strength, and these war beasts is dead and is gone, and so his race is dying off like flies. He's broody and strong like Geralt. It really doesn't. He's kind of hot like Geralt too, and he just has that really broody nature about him that just makes him likable, but yet annoyed by him. And that's what I feel about Geralt, at least. And physically, the way that he's being described also reminds me of Geralt. Interestingly, his relationship with the witch also reminds me of how Yennefer and Geralt is like in The Witcher, which are all positive things about the Ninth Rain that I really like. This brings me to the next point, which is actually Jen Williams' writing style. Her writing style is quite descriptive, but not overly so, and it's extremely humorous. I actually found myself laughing a few times while reading Ninth Rain because I think she really relies on that British stale but also sarcastic kind of humor, and you can see the characters, the three different characters actually bicker with each other, and you can see how their sarcasm just gets bounced off one another, and you just find it kind of banter really enjoyable, and it just makes their relationship very realistic and fun and exciting to follow through. They just have such great chemistry. And so despite all the things that I love, which is the way that Jen Williams writes and the fact that her world is by far the most interesting and unique to me, here are some cons that I would like to talk about this book and why I actually didn't enjoy it as much as I hoped. It really relied on the fact that I couldn't connect with our characters, even though, like I said, I found their relationships very relatable with each other and that they were very funny and very exciting. I think a lot of it was very surface level. I felt like I even when I knew their backstory, even when I knew their own pains and struggles, I couldn't really relate to them, maybe because it felt more like a story rather than a really defining characteristic for the characters. And I find that the way that she structured the narrative, I, I felt like it gave me little chance to truly connect with my characters, and I'm more invested in the mystery behind this world. I'm more invested in what's to come next in the plot. I didn't really find myself rooting for them as much as I hoped. I found it very difficult to feel a lot of sympathy for them despite the kind of sad stories. All of them have a sad backstory, and yet I don't really find it sad. It's strange. But it's not like I don't have a heart, I think. I don't know. But I could not feel the sympathy for them. I don't know why. But I just couldn't. And even with my most beloved character that I feel the most for, and the one that I actually enjoyed the most from, which is Lady Vintage, our scholar, our archaeologist, sort of. You know, I felt a lot of things for her, but when it came to her backstory, I really couldn't care less. And additionally, I found the narrative to be extremely choppy, and it felt like it was meandering and didn't know where it wanted to go until we reached maybe the last 10 to 20% of the book. And because we're not just following our trio, we are following other characters in the story that gives us a different look into the same story. I find that I didn't really care for those perspectives, and I just want to stay with our main three characters. And then it felt very choppy because we're following two storylines that are running parallel to each other to get to our end point, which is good for her plot line, but then it's not good for the narrative. And so that's why I guess I found the whole plotline narrative to be a little choppy, and it's very difficult for me to connect to our main three characters when we're jumping from perspective to perspective without really addressing our main three characters, if you know what I mean. And to be frank, rather than it being a fantastic book on its own, I feel like Ninth Reign is truly supposed to be a building stepping stone for the two books that are to come in the trilogy. So I think that first books shouldn't be that way. It should all books should stand well on its own and not rely on the fact that there's more to tell in the next two books for it to be a good series in general. But I understand, and so I'm okay with it. And it literally ends at a really, really exciting plot point, and I want to continue on because of that. So all in all, I found myself enjoying the Ninth Frame because of how hilarious it is and how fun it is, and it's easy to get through. It's easy to understand. I don't find myself struggling to understand the plot lines, and I'm not finding myself struggling with understanding how the world is being built. And in fact, I was very, very excited to know more, and I felt like all the mysteries involving the world, involving the history of this world, is what pushes me forward to really want to read this more and more. But the thing is, we must answer this question. On the scale of dragons, how badly do I want to continue on with this series? Drumroll, please. It would probably be 3.5 dragons out of 5. Not surprising, really not surprising. Because you see, it's not bad. It's not bad, like I said, and with the way that it ended with a little bit of a cliffhanger where we are like actually going into the biggest point in the story, and I'm very excited, clearly, and I want to see what happens next, and we are discovering more about the world because of that too. I feel like I do want to continue on, and I'm excited to continue on. You know, so it is certainly not bad, and with the way that it ended, it definitely pushes me towards the second book, and I feel like the second and the last book, the third book, is gonna offer me so much more about the world and the plot and the characters, and because I am invested to a certain extent, I want to know more about the world too. I'm going to be reading the series to its finality so I can find out how this story will finally come to its end. But unfortunately, I will not be giving my library stamp of approval for this book. And I am sad. I am really sad once again. And you know, we shall see what will come because I feel like the second book, The Bitter Twins, has a lot of potential to make it one of the best, most exciting fantasies that I've ever read in the year 20. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys will pick up the ninth read and see for yourself whether it's something that you like or you don't like. And I hope you enjoyed the review. And tell me if you're interested to read the ninth read and why, or if you've read ninth read, tell me what about it did you love so much or hate so much, okay? Yeah. So don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye!